Queen Natalia entered Duke Margrave's office alongside her maidservant. The past 10 days had not been an easy one, as she waited anxiously for the artificer to prepare his device. She had possibly wagered her entire kingdom on this artifact, and was eager to see its results. Duke Margrave bowed politely as she entered. She returned a head nod before she noticed a dwarf on the other side of the Duke's desk, placing a small stone with a singular rune etched onto its face. "Are we ready, Master Grimbel?" the Duke said, turning his attention to the dwarf.
"Master, who are you?"
The dwarf caught himself as his eyes noticed the Queen for the first time.
"My apologies, milady. I didn't realize Her Highness had joined us yet."
"Forgiven, Master Dwarf. But if you would be so good as to answer our good Duke here, I am quite keen to find out if your work is worth his confidence in it."
"Of course."
The dwarf tapped twice once and cleared his throat. A gentle yellow light began to emanate from the rune etched into the stone, as he gave a single command. "Droka." The whole room fell silent with anticipation. The dwarf's eyes bounced from person to person as a grin crept across his face. Queen Natalia began to develop a hollow feeling in her stomach as all her fears flashed through her mind. She turned briefly to her maidservant, who gave a confused look in return. Her gaze then turned to Lord Margrave and began to show signs of disbelief. "How long until it is ready to play back, Grimbel?" the Duke said, taking the hint.
"This stone can only record for 1 minute, my lord. Just a bit more patience, if you please."
The room fell silent again for but a moment.
"Milady, if you don't mind me asking, how much confidence did the Duke place in me?"
"Grimbel."
"What? I simply wish to hear all the good things you've been saying behind my back. Gods know you don't say 'em to my face."
A small smirk briefly crept across the Duke's face before he managed to suppress it. But even if it was alive for the briefest time, Grimbel saw it like a beacon on a stormy night. He let loose a boisterous laugh and pointed at the Duke's face.
"Was that a smile? Oh, well, now I know I should be honored. I got the great Duke Margrave to crack a smile. Did you see it, milady?"
No sooner had the words left his mouth than the soft, yellow light of the stone faded out. Queen Natalia cleared her throat and nodded at the lifeless artifact on the desk.
"Huh? Oh, yes, milady."
Grimbel once again touched the stone and gave out a command word.
"Bap kick."
Rather than a yellow glow, the rune emanated a royal blue, and 4 illusory figures appeared floating over the stone. Queen Natalia furrowed her brow in confusion as she inspected the figures. There was a dwarf and 3 human profiles standing around a desk. It did not take long to realize that one of the humans was a 1-foot-tall version of herself. As she walked closer, she realized that the illusory image was incredibly detailed. Her soft blue eyes were clearly visible in the projection. All the colors of her clothes and that of her servants matched exactly. You could even see the single pearl earring she had in each of her ears. "How long until it is ready to play back, Grimbel?" one of the figures said. As she looked at it, it was clearly the Duke.
"This stone can only record for 1 minute, my lord,"
the dwarf figure said. She now understood. It was a perfect recreation of the conversation they had just had. She stood in bewildered silence as the scene played out exactly like it had moments ago.
"Did you see it, my lady?"
the dwarf said. No sooner did the illusion say the words than the light faded, and the figures dissolved back into the stone. Another moment of silence passed as the Duke and the dwarf waited for her to speak. "I am impressed, Master Dwarf," the Queen finally said. The Duke's confidence was not misplaced.
"Thank you, milady."
"Duke Margrave, will only 1 minute of recording be enough for our purposes?" "No, my Queen. Grimbel is working on a more powerful version of this artifact that will be able to record a much longer conversation. This was simply a demonstration." "I see," she said, an impressed look still visible on her face. "Will it be ready in time?"
"Yes, milady,"
Grimbel interjected before Margrave could.
"I never miss a deadline. You can be as confident as the Duke is in that."
"Very well, Master Dwarf," the Queen smiled. "I will leave you to it then." She and her maidservant left the office, and she let out a slow sigh of relief.